My dear brothers and sisters, not everyone who speaks is wise, and not everyone who is silent is weak. There are people who move through life with calmness in their hearts, clarity in their minds, and respect in the way others see them. They are not constantly trying to prove themselves, yet their presence is felt. They are not loud, yet their words carry weight. They are not chasing attention, yet people naturally value them. What makes them different? It is not wealth. It is not status. It is not appearance. It is wisdom. Wise people live by principles that protect their peace, protect their dignity, and protect their future. They understand things that many people realize only after experiencing regret. They avoid mistakes that cost emotional pain, broken relationships, and lost respect. Many people suffer not because life is unfair, but because they ignore simple rules that could protect them from unnecessary stress and disappointment. Today, we will reflect on 5 powerful rules that wise people always follow. These rules strengthen your mindset, improve your character, and help you make better decisions in difficult situations. If you truly understand and apply these lessons, you will notice a powerful change in the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you live. Let us begin with the first rule. 1. Wise people do not speak everything they think. My dear brothers and sisters, not every thought deserves to be spoken, and not every feeling deserves to be expressed immediately. One of the strongest signs of wisdom is the ability to control the tongue, because the tongue often reveals what the heart has not yet fully understood. Many people speak quickly and regret slowly. In moments of anger, frustration, jealousy, or even excitement, words can leave the mouth before the mind has had time to reflect on the consequences. Later, when emotions settle, the same person wishes they had remained silent because they realize that some words cannot be taken back, no matter how much they apologize. Words are extremely powerful. A few sincere words can heal a broken heart, strengthen a relationship, and bring people closer together. But careless words can also damage trust, create distance, and cause wounds that remain in someone's heart for years. Sometimes a single sentence spoken in anger can destroy years of respect that took a long time to build. This is why wise people are always careful with their speech. They understand that silence is not weakness. Silence is control over the self. Silence is maturity of the mind. Silence is strength of character. When a person learns to pause before speaking, they give themselves the opportunity to think about the impact of their words. A small pause can prevent big regret. A moment of reflection can protect relationships. Wise people train themselves to ask important questions before they speak. They ask themselves whether their words will benefit the situation or make it worse. They consider whether what they are about to say is necessary, helpful, and kind. If the words will only create tension, increase negativity, or hurt someone unnecessarily, they choose silence instead. This does not mean that wise people never speak. Rather, they speak when their words bring value. Because they do not speak excessively, their words carry weight when they do speak. People listen carefully because they know that a wise person does not speak without reason. Their speech becomes meaningful, calm, and impactful. When a person speaks less but speaks with sincerity and thoughtfulness, others naturally respect their words more. Many problems in life begin with uncontrolled speech. Arguments often start because someone reacted too quickly. Relationships often break because someone spoke without thinking. Opportunities are sometimes lost because a person said something inappropriate at the wrong time. The tongue is small, but its impact is very large. A person who learns to control their speech protects themselves from embarrassment, protects their dignity, and protects their peace of mind. It is important to understand that not every opinion needs to be shared, and not every situation needs a response. Sometimes silence is the best response, especially when emotions are high. Silence allows the mind to calm down and prevents the situation from becoming worse. A wise person understands that winning an argument is not always more important than protecting a relationship. They understand that proving a point is not always more valuable than maintaining peace. Before speaking, it is beneficial to ask yourself whether your words will bring goodness or create regret. If the words will not improve the situation, silence is often the better choice. Over time, This habit develops emotional discipline. And emotional discipline is one of the foundations of wisdom. A person who controls their tongue demonstrates self-respect and earns the respect of others. Remember that once words leave your mouth, they cannot return. Even if people forgive, they may not forget how those words made them feel. Wise people understand the long-term impact of speech, so they choose their words carefully. They do not allow temporary emotions to create permanent damage. Therefore, train yourself to pause, reflect, and choose wisely. Speaking less does not reduce your importance. Rather, it increases the value of what you say. When your words become thoughtful and purposeful, people begin to listen more attentively. This is one of the qualities that distinguishes a wise person from someone who simply reacts to every thought and every emotion. 2. Wise people do not seek validation from everyone. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the biggest causes of emotional exhaustion in today's world is the constant need for approval from people. Many individuals live their lives based on what others think about them. They speak in a certain way so that people will like them. They behave in a certain way so that people will accept them. They make decisions not based on what is right, but based on what will impress others. Over time, this habit slowly weakens a person's confidence and steals their inner peace. Wise people understand a very important reality. People's opinions are always changing. The same people who praise you today may criticize you tomorrow. The same people who support you in one situation may ignore you in another. If a person builds their self-worth on people's opinions, their happiness will always remain unstable. One negative comment can disturb their entire day, and one criticism can make them question their value. This is why wise people do not make people the center of their emotional stability. Seeking validation from everyone is like trying to fill a container that has no bottom. No matter how much approval you receive, it never feels enough because the need keeps increasing. A person who constantly looks for recognition becomes dependent on external praise. When praise stops, motivation stops. When appreciation decreases, confidence decreases. This creates a dangerous cycle where a person forgets their true purpose and begins living only for the approval of others. Wise people remind themselves that human beings are imperfect. People judge quickly without understanding the full situation. People form opinions based on limited information. People sometimes criticize simply because they themselves are unhappy. If a person allows every opinion to affect their heart, they will always feel emotionally tired. Wisdom teaches us that not every opinion deserves attention, and not every criticism deserves a reaction. A wise believer understands that true validation comes from Allah, who knows what is hidden in the hearts. Allah knows your intentions even when people misunderstand you. Allah sees your effort even when people ignore you. Allah understands your struggles even when people judge you unfairly. When a person focuses on pleasing Allah rather than pleasing people, they feel a deep sense of relief. Their actions become sincere, and sincerity brings peace to the heart. This does not mean that we should ignore advice or refuse to improve ourselves. Wise people listen to beneficial advice, but they do not allow every opinion to control their identity. They reflect on constructive feedback and leave unnecessary negativity. They improve themselves for the sake of growth, not for the sake of impressing others. Their confidence comes from knowing that they are trying their best with sincerity. When a person constantly tries to please everyone, they often lose their true personality. They start changing their words, their choices, and even their values just to avoid criticism. Over time, they feel lost because they are no longer living according to their own principles. Wise people protect themselves from this confusion by staying connected to their values. They remain kind and respectful, but they do not sacrifice their dignity just to gain approval. Another important understanding is that no matter what you do, some people will never be satisfied. Even if you try your best, there will always be someone who disagrees. If you speak, someone may criticize you. If you remain silent, someone may still criticize you. If you succeed, someone may feel jealous. If you struggle, someone may judge you. Since pleasing everyone is impossible, wise people choose to focus on what truly matters. True confidence develops when a person stops depending on constant reassurance from others. They learn to appreciate their own progress. They learn to recognize their own effort. They learn to accept that mistakes are part of growth. Instead of constantly looking outside for approval, they build stability inside their heart. This internal stability allows them to remain calm even when others misunderstand them. Wise people understand that their value does not decrease simply because someone fails to recognize it. A diamond remains valuable even if someone does not understand its worth. In the same way, your sincerity, your patience, and your effort remain valuable even if people do not always acknowledge them. The one whose recognition truly matters is Allah, because His knowledge is complete and His judgment is perfectly just. When a person frees themselves from the need for constant validation, they begin to experience emotional independence. They become less affected by praise and less disturbed by criticism. Their focus shifts from impressing people to improving themselves. Their heart becomes lighter because they are no longer carrying the burden of trying to satisfy everyone. Seeking acceptance from Allah brings a special type of peace that people cannot provide. People's approval may change, but Allah's knowledge of your sincerity never changes. When your intention is correct, even small actions become meaningful. When your focus is sincere, even slow progress becomes valuable. Therefore, remind yourself regularly that your worth is not defined by people's opinions. Your worth is defined by your sincerity, your character, and your effort to do what is right. Continue improving yourself. Continue seeking goodness and continue trusting that Allah sees every step you take. When the need for validation decreases, confidence increases. When confidence increases, peace increases. And when peace increases, life becomes easier to navigate. Wise people understand this balance, and this understanding protects them from emotional instability. They respect others, but they do not depend on others to feel worthy. They seek advice, but they do not lose themselves in opinions. They remain humble, but they do not lose confidence. True peace begins when the heart learns that approval from Allah is enough. 3. Wise people protect their energy. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the qualities that distinguishes wise people from others is that they understand the value of their energy. They realize that their emotional strength, mental focus, and inner peace are limited resources, and if these resources are wasted on unnecessary matters, a person begins to feel exhausted, distracted, and overwhelmed. Many people feel constantly tired, not because they are physically overworked, but because their minds are filled with unnecessary worries, unnecessary arguments, and unnecessary drama. Wise people understand that not every situation deserves a reaction. Not every comment deserves a response, and not every person deserves unlimited access to their time and attention. They are careful about where they invest their energy because they know that whatever they focus on grows in importance. If they constantly focus on negativity, their heart becomes heavy. If they constantly involve themselves in conflict, their mind loses clarity. If they constantly try to solve every problem around them, they eventually lose the ability to focus on their own growth. Protecting your energy does not mean becoming careless or distant from others. It means understanding balance. It means recognizing which matters truly deserve your attention and which matters are simply distractions. Some people become emotionally drained because they involve themselves in every discussion, every disagreement, and every issue that appears in front of them. They feel responsible for everything, and as a result, they slowly lose their own peace. Wise people observe more than they react. They listen more than they argue. They reflect more than they complain. They understand that responding emotionally to every situation often makes problems bigger rather than smaller. When emotions control reactions, decisions become impulsive, and impulsive decisions often lead to regret. This is why wise people take a step back when situations become heated. They allow themselves time to think clearly before responding. Many conflicts in life become worse simply because people react immediately without reflection. A message is misunderstood, and a quick reply creates tension. A small disagreement turns into a long argument because neither side chooses to pause. A negative comment leads to unnecessary stress because too much importance is given to someone else's opinion. Wise people understand that immediate reactions are not always necessary. Sometimes silence protects relationships. Sometimes patience prevents regret. Sometimes walking away is the strongest decision. Another important aspect of protecting energy is choosing carefully who has influence over your emotions. Not everyone thinks positively. Not everyone encourages growth. Some people constantly complain, constantly criticize, and constantly create negativity. Spending too much time in negative environments slowly affects the heart. Even a strong person can begin to feel discouraged when surrounded by continuous pessimism. Wise people do not allow negativity to control their mindset. They try to maintain a healthy distance from environments that constantly drain their motivation. This does not mean they hate anyone or think they are better than others. It simply means they understand that protecting their peace allows them to remain productive, patient, and emotionally stable. Energy is also wasted when a person tries to control things that are beyond their ability. Worrying excessively about situations that cannot be changed only increases anxiety. Wise people focus on what they can improve and leave what they cannot control to Allah. They invest their energy in actions that bring benefit, such as improving their character, increasing their knowledge, strengthening their faith, and building positive habits. Another way wise people protect their energy is by setting boundaries. Boundaries are not signs of arrogance, they are signs of self-respect. A person who never sets boundaries often becomes overwhelmed because they try to satisfy everyone. They try to help everyone, please everyone, and support everyone, even when they themselves feel exhausted. Over time, this creates frustration because their own needs are ignored. Wise people understand that constantly saying yes to everything often leads to burnout. They understand that sometimes it is necessary to say no in order to protect their well-being. Saying no does not make a person selfish, it allows them to remain balanced and consistent. When a person protects their time and energy, they become more capable of fulfilling their responsibilities with sincerity and focus. Protecting energy also means avoiding unnecessary comparison with others. Constant comparison creates feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. Wise people understand that every individual has a different journey, different challenges, and different timing. Instead of comparing constantly, they focus on improving themselves step by step. This mindset allows them to move forward without feeling discouraged by the progress of others. When energy is protected, the mind becomes clearer and the heart becomes calmer. A calm heart makes better decisions. A focused mind produces better results. A peaceful person is able to handle challenges with patience and wisdom. This is why protecting energy is not laziness, it is preparation for long-term strength. Wise people also understand the importance of spending time in beneficial activities that increase positivity. Activities such as reflection, learning, prayer, and self-improvement strengthen the heart and bring clarity to the mind. When a person fills their life with beneficial actions, they have less time for unnecessary distractions. This creates a sense of purpose, and purpose brings satisfaction. Another important understanding is that not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every criticism needs defense. Sometimes people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain yourself. Wise people do not waste their energy trying to control how everyone sees them. They focus on maintaining sincerity and trust that truth becomes clear with time. The strongest individuals are not those who constantly prove themselves to others, but those who remain consistent in their values regardless of external opinions. Their energy is directed toward growth, not toward constant justification. They understand that inner peace is more valuable than temporary approval. Protecting energy allows a person to remain emotionally stable even during difficult times. Life will always include challenges, but a person who manages their energy wisely is better prepared to handle those challenges. They do not allow small matters to consume their thoughts. They do not allow negativity to weaken their motivation. They choose carefully what deserves their attention and what does not. When a person becomes selective about where they invest their emotional strength, they begin to notice positive changes. stress decreases, clarity increases, and decisions become more thoughtful. Their presence becomes calm, and calmness naturally attracts respect. People feel comfortable around those who are balanced because balance creates trust. Therefore, protect your energy as something valuable. Do not allow unnecessary arguments, unnecessary negativity, or unnecessary pressure to drain your strength. Focus on what truly matters. Invest your energy in actions that bring benefit to your life and benefit to others. With time, this habit will create emotional resilience and inner peace. Wise people understand that energy once lost cannot easily be recovered. This is why they spend it carefully, invest it wisely, and protect it consistently. 4. Wise people accept that not everything is in their control. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest signs of wisdom is the ability to accept that not everything in life is within our control. Many people live in a constant state of stress because they try to control every situation, every outcome, and even every person around them. They want everything to happen according to their expectations, and when reality does not match their plans, they feel frustrated, anxious, and disappointed. Wise people understand a powerful truth. Human beings have limited control, but Allah has complete control. A person may plan carefully, work sincerely, and make strong efforts, but the final result is always in the hands of Allah. When someone forgets this reality, they begin to carry a burden that is too heavy for the heart. They start believing that everything depends only on their own ability, and this belief creates constant pressure and fear. It is important to understand that effort is part of our responsibility, but results are not fully in our hands. We are responsible for trying our best, for making sincere intentions, and for using the abilities Allah has given us. But after effort comes trust. Trust that Allah knows what is best, even when we do not understand the outcome immediately. Many people become deeply stressed because they want certainty in everything. They want guaranteed results for every action they take. They want every plan to succeed exactly as they imagine. But life does not always follow our expectations. Sometimes plans change. Sometimes opportunities are delayed. Sometimes doors close. Even when we feel that we worked hard, at that moment, a person may feel discouraged and begin to question why things did not go as expected. Wise people remind themselves that not every closed door is a loss. Sometimes what we want is not good for us, even if we strongly desire it. Sometimes Allah removes something from our path because He knows it would harm us in ways we cannot see. Sometimes delays are not punishments but protection. Sometimes a different path leads to something better than what we originally planned. Human knowledge is limited. We often see only a small part of the situation, while Allah sees the complete picture. We may think something is perfect for us, but Allah knows the hidden consequences. We may feel disappointed when something does not happen, but later we may realize that avoiding that situation protected us from difficulty. Many people look back at their past and recognize that things they once worried about intensely later became sources of relief. Trying to control everything also creates emotional exhaustion. A person begins to worry about every possibility, every opinion, and every future outcome. They repeatedly think about situations that have not even happened yet. This habit fills the mind with unnecessary anxiety. Wise people train themselves to focus on what they can control in the present moment rather than worrying excessively about the future. What can we control? We can control our intentions. We can control our effort. We can control our character. We can control our reactions. We can control how sincerely we try. But we cannot fully control how people respond, how quickly results appear, or how circumstances change. When a person accepts this reality, a huge weight is lifted from the heart. Acceptance does not mean giving up. Acceptance means understanding the difference between effort and outcome. A wise person continues to try, continues to improve, and continues to move forward, but they do not allow uncertainty to destroy their peace. They do not allow fear of the future to steal the beauty of the present moment. Trust in Allah creates emotional stability because it reminds the heart that nothing happens without purpose. Even difficulties carry lessons. Even delays carry wisdom. Even unexpected changes may guide a person towards something beneficial. A believer understands that Allah is the best planner and His wisdom is beyond human understanding. When a person truly accepts that not everything is in their control, they stop blaming themselves excessively for every outcome. They stop replaying situations again and again in their mind. They stop asking endless questions about why something did not happen differently. Instead, they focus on learning from experience and continuing forward with patience. Another benefit of accepting limited control is that it reduces conflict with others. Many arguments occur because people try to control each other's behavior. They want others to think exactly like them, act exactly like them, and respond exactly as they expect. When others behave differently, frustration increases. Wise people understand that every individual has their own perspective, their own personality, and their own journey. Instead of forcing control, they practice understanding and patience. Life becomes easier when a person stops trying to control everything and begins focusing on what truly matters. A person who accepts uncertainty develops resilience. They become emotionally stronger because they are not shaken by every unexpected change. They adapt more easily, they remain calmer in difficulty, and they maintain hope even when situations seem unclear. Patience becomes easier when trust is strong. A heart that trusts Allah does not panic when things do not go according to plan. Instead, it continues to make effort while believing that goodness can still come from unexpected directions. Many opportunities appear in ways we never imagined. Many solutions come at times we did not expect. Accepting what we cannot control also helps us appreciate what we already have. Constant worry about the future often prevents a person from feeling grateful in the present. Wise people practice gratitude because gratitude strengthens emotional stability. When a person recognizes blessings, their perspective becomes balanced. They stop focusing only on what is missing and begin appreciating what is already present. It is also important to remember that difficulties are part of life for every person. No one lives without challenges. Even the strongest people face uncertainty. Even the most successful people experience setbacks. Challenges do not mean failure. They are part of growth. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come from situations that were not planned. Wise people do not allow temporary difficulty to create permanent hopelessness. They remind themselves that circumstances can change. Just as difficult times arrive, they also pass. Maintaining patience during uncertainty builds inner strength that cannot be developed in comfortable situations alone. When a person stops trying to control everything, they gain more mental clarity. Their mind becomes less crowded with worry, and this allows them to think more wisely. Decisions become more thoughtful because fear no longer dominates their thinking. They begin to act with balance rather than panic. Understanding the limits of our control teaches humility. It reminds us that we are dependent on Allah in every moment. This awareness strengthens sincerity and encourages us to remain grounded. A humble heart is more peaceful because it does not carry the pressure of believing it must manage everything alone. Wise people continue to work hard, continue to make plans, and continue to pursue improvement, but they combine effort with trust. They accept that sometimes the result may differ from the plan, and that difference may carry hidden benefit. They remain hopeful because they know that Allah's wisdom is always present, even when the situation is unclear. Therefore, do your best in what you can control, and place your trust in Allah for what you cannot control. This balance brings calmness to the heart and stability to the mind. A person who lives with this understanding is not easily shaken by change because their foundation is strong. Accepting that not everything is in our control does not weaken us. Instead, it frees us from unnecessary pressure and allows us to focus on meaningful effort. This acceptance creates patience, and patience creates strength. 5. Wise people focus on improving themselves, not judging others. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the clearest signs of wisdom is that a person becomes more concerned about correcting their own shortcomings than exposing the shortcomings of others. Wise people understand that every human being has flaws. weaknesses, and struggles that may not always be visible to the outside world. Because of this understanding, they develop humility, patience, and compassion instead of constantly criticizing and judging people. Many individuals spend a large portion of their time observing what others are doing wrong. They quickly notice mistakes, quickly form opinions, and quickly share judgments. Over time, this habit creates negativity in the heart. A person who constantly looks for faults begins to feel irritated easily, loses peace of mind, and becomes distracted from their own personal growth. Instead of moving forward in life, they become stuck focusing on the behavior of others. Wise people realize that focusing too much on others' faults does not improve their own condition. It does not increase knowledge, it does not improve character, and it does not strengthen the relationship with Allah. Instead, it often creates arrogance, because a person may begin to feel superior simply because they can see the weaknesses of others. Wisdom teaches us that feeling superior is dangerous for the heart, because arrogance prevents a person from recognizing their own areas of improvement. Every human being is on a journey of growth. Some people are at the beginning of their journey, while others are further ahead. Some people struggle silently with difficulties that no one else can see. Some people are trying to improve step by step, even if their progress is slow. When a person constantly judges others without understanding their struggles, they may unknowingly hurt someone who is already trying their best. Wise people remind themselves that they also have weaknesses, they also make mistakes, they also require patience and understanding from others. This awareness creates empathy. Empathy allows a person to respond with kindness instead of harshness. Instead of immediately criticizing, wise people choose to encourage improvement through positive example. Focusing on self-improvement creates a powerful shift in mindset. Instead of wasting energy discussing the faults of others, a wise person invests that energy into becoming better. They reflect on their own habits, their own reactions, and their own intentions. They ask themselves whether they are becoming more patient, more sincere, and more disciplined. This type of reflection leads to real progress. Improvement does not happen suddenly. It happens gradually through small, consistent efforts. Wise people understand that even small steps toward better character are valuable. Becoming slightly more patient, slightly more understanding, slightly more disciplined each day leads to meaningful change over time. A person who consistently improves even a small amount becomes stronger than someone who constantly criticizes others without improving themselves. Judging others often creates unnecessary distance between people. When a person feels judged, they may become defensive or discouraged. This can damage relationships and create tension. Wise people aim to build understanding instead of distance. They recognize that positive encouragement often inspires change more effectively than criticism. Another important understanding is that people often show only a small part of their life publicly. Many struggles remain hidden. A person may appear strong on the outside while facing difficulties internally. A person may appear confident while feeling uncertain privately. Wise people avoid making quick judgments because they understand that appearances do not reveal the full story. Self-improvement requires honesty with oneself. It requires recognizing personal weaknesses without making excuses. This process may feel uncomfortable, but it leads to growth. A person who is willing to accept their imperfections becomes capable of meaningful change. On the other hand, a person who constantly focuses on others may ignore their own need for improvement. Wise people develop the habit of self-reflection. They take time to evaluate their actions and consider whether their behavior aligns with their values. They ask themselves whether their words bring benefit or harm. They consider whether their actions create positivity or negativity. This type of awareness strengthens character and builds inner stability. It is also important to remember that constant comparison with others often leads to dissatisfaction. When a person measures their progress only by looking at others, they may feel discouraged or proud in unhealthy ways. Wise people compare themselves with their past selves rather than constantly comparing themselves with others. They ask whether they are becoming better than they were before. Growth requires patience. Just as a seed does not become a tree immediately, improvement takes time. Wise people remain consistent even when progress feels slow. They trust that sincere effort produces results gradually. They understand that meaningful change often happens quietly. Focusing on self-improvement also increases emotional peace. A person becomes less concerned with proving themselves and more concerned with becoming better. They feel less pressure to compete with others and more motivation to improve their own character. This creates balance in the heart. Another benefit of focusing on self-improvement is that it naturally influences others positively. When people observe patience, sincerity, and discipline, they often feel inspired to improve themselves. Actions often have more impact than words. A good example encourages change more effectively than constant criticism. Wise people understand that guidance belongs to Allah. We can encourage, we can advise with kindness, but we cannot force change in someone's heart. Recognizing this reality prevents frustration and helps maintain emotional balance. Instead of trying to control others, wise people focus on improving their own sincerity. When a person continuously improves themselves, they begin to feel a sense of purpose. Life feels meaningful because each day becomes an opportunity for growth. Small improvements create confidence, and confidence creates motivation to continue improving. Self-improvement includes improving patience during difficulty, improving gratitude during ease, improving sincerity in actions, and improving kindness in interactions. These qualities strengthen both character and relationships. Wise people also understand that mistakes are part of learning. Instead of becoming discouraged by mistakes, they learn from them. They reflect on what can be done better next time. This mindset transforms mistakes into valuable lessons rather than sources of hopelessness. When a person stops focusing excessively on the faults of others, they free their mind from negativity. This allows space for positive thinking and productive effort. The heart becomes calmer because it is no longer occupied with unnecessary judgment. Humility grows when a person recognizes that everyone is in need of improvement. No one is perfect, and everyone benefits from patience and understanding. This awareness creates kindness and reduces harshness in interactions. Wise people aim to become better today than they were yesterday. They do not expect perfection, but they commit to progress. They understand that consistent effort builds strong character over time. Instead of asking whether others are doing enough, they ask whether they themselves are improving. Instead of focusing on criticism, they focus on growth. Instead of spreading negativity, they encourage positivity. A person who focuses on self-improvement experiences a special type of peace because their progress depends on their own effort rather than the behavior of others. They feel empowered because they know they can always take steps toward becoming better. Therefore, invest your energy in improving your own character, strengthening your sincerity, and increasing your patience. Over time, these qualities create respect, stability, and inner peace. Wise people understand that true success is not measured by how many faults we find in others, but by how much we improve ourselves. My dear brothers and sisters, wisdom is not about knowing many things. Wisdom is about living the right way. A wise person is not the one who wins every argument, but the one who protects their peace. Not the one who speaks the most, but the one who speaks with purpose. Not the one who tries to control everything, but the one who trusts Allah in every situation. These 5 rules may seem simple, but they have the power to protect your heart from regret, protect your mind from stress, and protect your life from many unnecessary problems. When you learn to control your tongue, you protect your respect. When you stop seeking validation from people, you protect your confidence. When you protect your energy, you protect your peace. When you trust Allah in what you cannot control, you protect your heart from anxiety. And when you focus on improving yourself instead of judging others, you protect your character. A wise life is not built in one day. It is built decision by decision, habit by habit, moment by moment. Every time you choose patience over reaction, you become stronger. Every time you choose silence over unnecessary words, you become wiser. Every time you choose growth over criticism, you move closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Ask Allah to grant you wisdom that guides your decisions, patience that strengthens your heart, and sincerity that brings peace into your life. If this reminder touched your heart, share it with someone who may need it today, because sometimes a few words of wisdom can change the direction of a life. May Allah grant us wisdom, protect our hearts from regret, and guide us toward what brings peace in this life and success in the next.